guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Jaguar Land Rover St. Petersburg, and guess what? I have that one muscle car that people yearn for. It's this vehicle right here. This is it. This is a 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon. But before we get into this hellish rear-wheel drive muscle car for the Strip, let's talk about what's going on here. So, as we know, the Challenger is officially dead, and Dodge has said absolutely nothing of the Challenger making a return. Now, they are talking about bringing the Hemi V8 back and the Hemi supercharged V8, but not the Challenger itself. They now have the Charger, which can be optioned as a 2-door or a 4-door. Now, going back to 2018, when the Demon was officially launched, it was a game changer, just like in 2015. 2015, basically 10 years ago from today, it was all about the Hellcat, 707 horsepower, all under a factory warranty and drivable every single day, even sitting in traffic. That was unheard of. And then they really broke the mold when they brought the Demon, because now you had a car that could run in the 9s in the quarter mile, that 9-second range, fully stock from the factory. Now, we of course know the Demon 170 and how that power has been brought to a new level. But what I want to find out is this Challenger Demon, the 2018 version, is this the must-have muscle car? And should you get one now before prices continue to go up? Why don't we go ahead, let's dive into ours and see if we can find out. Right off the bat, it's a classic color. It's known as F8 green. It's been around since the early days of the muscle car era over at Dodge. Really fits the body lines super nicely. Now, when it comes to the Demon, you have that extra wide body fender flare. So we have that fender flare on both sides of the vehicle. That's going to add an additional 3 inches of width. You'll notice how that flat black splitter comes down large enough. Stephen 8 is PB&J right off the corner of that splitter. And then as we come across that iconic style, they nailed the classic retro design with this Challenger, especially the Demon. We have our SRT badge, street and racing technology. Remember, they hollow out the headlight to bring more cool air, full LED lighting, that flat black egg crate grille design, F8 green, and then on the lower portion, the same thing with the egg crate design in flat black. Has one of the meanest looks ever in automotive history, especially in the modern muscle car era. And then of course, the Demon has that single large massive hood scoop. Now, with this car, remember, they only made 3,000 of them for the US market and 300 of them for the Canadian market. And for $1, you could add the Demon crate, which would give you those skinnies for up front. Basically, you get a jack, you get all the tools so that you could take off the front wheels and put those skinny wheels and tires on. And the reason why we do that in drag racing, it's less rolling resistance and less weight off the front of the car. Now, as we rise up, like I said, that massive air grabber single hood scoop, this one, as you could clearly see, has the optional painted, this isn't vinyl decal, painted single hood in that flat black color. Now, you could option in painted roof and painted trunk. This one does not have it. So this portion right here is optional. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So all 4 corners, the way it comes, are with these wheels. 18-inch wheels. Tires are 315 up front, 40 series sidewall. Actually, they're 315 all 4 corners. And when it comes to the handling of this car, you have those Bilstein shock absorbers that are set up for the drag strip. So what they will do is they're adaptive shock absorbers that will soften the rear and stiffen the front so that when you go to launch the car at the drag strip, it will do that perfect weight transfer. And this car, with the skinnies on, will pull the wheels right off the ground. Love the style of the wheel, that flat black. You'll notice that we do have only 4 piston calipers, painted that bright tomato sauce red, and the rotors are a little smaller in diameter, but they're 2-piece and they're slotted. Now, the reason why they go with a smaller brake package is because this isn't meant to be a corner carver. This is meant to slow down after you run through the quarter mile, and you got plenty of room to slow the vehicle down. That's just gonna add more weight to the car, and we don't want that. But let me know what you think about the style of the wheel. Really, really nice. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, that wheel sort of looks familiar. My neighbor down the street has a Challenger Hellcat Superstock. You're 100% correct. The Superstock gets the Demon wheels from 2018. I think they look stupendous. Now, coming down the side, of course, you're gonna have your Demon badge, that gunmetal gray finish. This one has the optional sunroof. Now, this car, the engineers and designers did not think the Demon should even have a sunroof because that just adds extra weight. We don't want that. And it messes up the rigidity of the chassis. We don't want that either. So the fascinating thing is that for 2018, it was a $5,000 option to have this sunroof. So you're really gonna wanna have a sunroof to get one, especially when they were new. On the Demon 170, they made it a $10,000 option. Freaking crazy. Now, coming down the side, that classic muscle car stance, muscle car look. Challenger is dead. It's dead. We got the Charger Daytona right now, eventually the Charger 6-pack, and from what Dodge says, 2026, they're gonna bring back the Hemis and the supercharged Hemis into the current Charger, not the Challenger. Out back, like I said, you're gonna have still those 3 15s, 18-inch wheels. You have your standard rear calipers. Everything's painted red. They're all Brembos, which is fantastic. And the fender flare just gives it that I'm gonna eat you up and spit you out look. I think that really just ignited even further how people felt about these cars when it came to the wide body look. Now, as we spin around back, this is your standard trunk lid spoiler. You can, or you could have back in 2018, option in the drag spec, the strip spec rear spoiler. This one is your standard one with the SRT badge. If you notice, it doesn't say Demon anywhere on the outside besides the badges on the side. Out back, you have your great looking taillights, really hark back to 1970, that Dodge logo. And then working our way down the ground level, of course, we're gonna have an electronic limited slip diff. You got those rectangular slash cut exhausts that do fit cleanly. That's one thing I've appreciated. Before, I never really appreciated these exhausts. I used to zonk it because it reminds me of a vacuum cleaner. Now I appreciate the nice clean style. And of course, you're gonna have all of that technology from SRT to get you down the strip. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop that air grabber hood and check out the Demon's heart. All right, guys, we got the hood popped of that air grabber hood. You got the hood struts to hold it open. You'll see how the whole hood is painted black, top and bottom. The air grabber badging, looking killer. And then you could also see where that functionality of the air grabber hood is gonna force air. Where is it forcing it? Down on this race style cone filter element, and then flowing into that massive throttle body. But what do we got going on here? What makes the Demon so special is that it does have a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi. Now, without the ECU plugged in and 100 octane plus race fuel, the Demon will produce 808 horsepower. You plug in the ECU and run on 100 plus octane race fuel, you're now looking at 840 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. It's all bolted to that TorqueFlite 8-speed automatic, but here's the kicker. NHRA certified, 9.65 in the quarter mile at 140 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. Remember, this has a trans brake, and those wheels I was telling you about, the skinnies, those are 4.5 inches wide. The wheels on the car as it sits are 11.5 inches wide, all four corners. But seeing that supercharger, seeing the Demon face on it, the red valve covers, that's also specific to the Demon, really gives it that uniqueness. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and hear this Demon roar. All right, guys, we are inside this F8 green. It's one of the rare colors of the Demon. F8 green 2018 Dodge Demon. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, lay it on me. How much is this muscle car? Well, brand new, if you could get one at sticker, they were around $89,700. Here's the funny thing. Dodge did not want the dealers adding markup. So you know what the dealers did? They had ads on eBay where you could bid to be the person to buy one of these at sticker. And most people were getting the winning bid at between $20,000 to $30,000. So that's how they circumvented and added the markup. These cars have never depreciated at all. So they're going up. They are appreciating. This particular one has an asking price of $107,000. Let's see what you get when you go Demon to the door panels. I love the Alcantara. That Alcantara in the center, that white contrast stitching. You have a cup holder up front, which is interesting. And then on the back side, you have your track Twinkie holders. That's where you're gonna put 4 Twinkies for your passenger. And then we have the optional Harman Kardon sound system. Going from the door panel to the dash, you get a nice badge, the Demon badge. This is number 3067 out of the 3300 that they made. You have a Twinkie hammock over here. Now this is for the car in the other lane when you blow their doors off. So you're gonna keep a Twinkie here for them as a consolation prize. You're gonna wanna really become friends with this 12 volt. This is where you're gonna plug in your radar detector. Highly recommend one. Slide on in. Yes, it's dated. Yes, it's old. Who cares? That is an 8.4-inch screen with the Uconnect 4. Of course, we got the performance pages, all that great information. This was revolutionary back in 2015 when they came up with the performance pages and all the other goodies. Plus the fact that you got heated and ventilated seats in your car. That's meant for the drag strip and a heated steering wheel. So they're kind of spoiling you there just a little bit. Now here's where you can set up your launch control. Like I said, there's also line lock. You can set the RPM for how hard you want to launch. We got the chiller on right now. That's going to route some of the AC coolant into the intake for the supercharger. And then on top of that, we got our drive modes. All the way up to track, baby. 808 horsepower because we have the red key. Working our way down, you get a bright red start stop button. Real switches and knobs for all your goodies, volume, radio controls, your AC controls. There's your SRT button. You hit that and that brings up your SRT dashboard. This is going to control your 8-speed TorqueFlite automatic transmission. 2 cup holders. You get 2 keys with the Demon. There's your Demon key, the red key, and then the SRT key. Soft touch material. This is where you're going to open up and you got another 12 volt, 2 USB-A's and aux jack. And you have enough room in here where you could keep that glass jar. You're gonna keep all the tears of all those other cars that you beat at the drag strip. If you live your life a quarter mile at a time, you want one of those jars. And then the seats, the Laguna leather. Look at the Demon embossed logo, the Alcantara. It is manual controls for the passenger, electric controls for the driver. Now here's the interesting thing. The car comes with one seat, just the driver's seat. It takes $1 to add every seat. So $1 to add this passenger seat. One thing you'll notice on ours, let me get this out of the way real quick before I move this. So what you're gonna notice on ours is that it has no back seat. And I prefer that, but for $1, you put the back seat in there, and then of course the Demon crate is another $1. Demon crate is really the deal of a century. But why don't you come over here at the business end? I want to show you behind the Alcantara leather wrap steering wheel in this Demon. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have your power seat controls, easy to get to. Pedal box, nice aluminum brake pedal, aluminum throttle, but the saddest looking dead pedal in all of muscle car history. Definitely gonna zonk that. This does have the optional red seat belts. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower. And don't forget, we have that sunroof. You better love a sunroof for it to cost $5,000. $5,000. 10 grand on a Demon 170. I'm 6 feet tall. If you can't fit in a Challenger, you're not fitting in a Mustang, and you're definitely not fitting in a Camaro. Steering wheel, the Alcantara all the way around. This is ridiculous. This should not have been plastic. That's a zonk. You got the SRT badge, metal paddles to go up and down that Torque Flight 8-speed automatic, and it is a power tilting and telescoping wheel. And then of course you got that beautiful gauge cluster with the 200-mile-per-hour speedo, white gauges, all backlit LED, and then of course in the center there you have tons of information. Look at all that information, cornucopia. In a drag car, the more information, the better. I'm not showing you the trunk. It's the largest out of any of the modern muscle cars, Camaro or Mustang. What I'm gonna show you, we're gonna go on throttle in this Demon. All right guys, we are inside this 2018 Dodge Demon, one of just 3,300 that will ever be built. This is it. Of course, we need to start off with a launch. And that's what's great about this car is the drag strip technology is fantastic. Back in the original muscle car days, they dreamed of this type of technology. So it's real simple. You have it in drive, you hit activate launch. We're gonna launch at around 1900 RPM, left foot on the brake, right foot on throttle. On throttle, here we go, yeah! Woo! Smoke them if you got them. And I have an extra big pack to smoke. Freaking 315s, all 4 corners. There's just not enough words in the English dictionary that describe how visceral, how insane this car is. First of all, that Dodge built it. Second of all, that it's manageable. Like if you know what you're doing, the fact that this will run a 9.6 in the quarter mile is ridiculous. And yes, the Demon 170 will go faster, but still, 9.6 is pretty darn fast. Now, I know everybody and their mother is gonna say that the interior is dated, and I get it, but there's just something so unique about this car, especially now that they don't make it anymore, the Challenger especially. It just has that appeal that only a real deal muscle car can give. The crazy thing is that driving this on regular roads is actually very comfortable and quite easy. So, you ready to go on throttle? On throttle, here we go. That Torque Flight automatic 8-speed shifts with authority. It's like a freaking moose hitting you in your back, full speed. That's what it feels like. And then with the 315s, she actually will handle as well. Now, is she a corner carver? No, but still gets around pretty good. That supercharger whine. That's the demon sound, man. It's like, golly. It's like, why do certain brands, keep the supercharger whine quiet? Are they out of their freaking mind? That's what people want. And you gotta give the people what they want. What do they want? They want Brondo. Give it to them. It's got electrolytes. But this thing has got plenty of get up and go. Freak, the shifts. Even when you're just driving around, the authority of the shifts is just, it's masterful. It really, really is. And the fact that the Bilstein suspension does that weight transfer so that you can get the perfect launch. Because it's not easy. You gotta have everything just right to get that 9.6 in the quarter mile. But when you do, you're lifting the wheels and tires off the ground, and you're doing something that not many people can do with their cars, to run a 9.6 in 1,320 feet, because that's how long the quarter mile is. On throttle, here we go. You have the air chiller, making sure that those intake temps are kept in check, and you know when it's working. You know why? You get a little hot under the collar. And not because you're driving this, it's because it's literally getting a little warmer inside the car, because the AC is being directed towards that supercharged Hemi. Seeing the big muscle car bulge of a hood, they don't get any bigger than that. In modern day era, that is the largest of the muscle car bulges with that air grabber hood. This thing is a freaking hoot. Sound of that V8. No sound being pumped in through the speakers. None of that garbage. Everything is the real. There's nothing like the real deal, baby. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Now in a Demon 170, I wouldn't be able to take the turn like that, but because we have the wide wheels and tires up front, I'm able to do that a little bit more effectively. And then at the end of the day, these seats are so comfy, heated, ventilated. It really is one of those muscle cars that people are going to remember. I'm going to be 100 years old on Rady's Rides. I'm going to be like, remember the day when the Demon came out? Oh boy. First of all, I'll be asking myself, what the hell happened to my voice? Because now I'm talking like somebody totally different. But no, seriously, we're going to be talking about this car and the Demon 170 for years to come. And it's going to be hopefully the kids that lust after these that can't get them now, instead of buying their Tesla or their Rivian or their Nissan Leaf. Hopefully they want something like this. If you raise them right, they will. If you didn't, it's your fault. Music. I feel like a conductor driving this car, because you are just, the sound of this symphony underneath the hood is absolutely stupendous. One more time, you ready? On throttle, here we go! Oh my God. Where's my towel? If I smoked cigarettes, I would need a cigarette right now. But I don't, so don't have to worry about that. I do need to drink some water. I feel like the Demon is dehydrating me. I need Brondo. But anyways, we're back where it all started. We need to wrap it up and get back to Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete. So I will see you in a quarter mile minute. All right, guys. What can I say that hasn't been said already? This car's badass. Amazing just to be behind the wheel. And even without the ECU plugged in and race fuel, still has plenty of get up and go and so much character. But we got to thank everybody at Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete, including Miro, for getting us access to this F8 Green Demon. Now it's your turn. Is this the must-have muscle car, especially for the price? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Got to give it up to Tripod. That's Stephen Flood's nickname, and I didn't give him that nickname. All of the ladies gave Stephen that nickname. So thank you, Stephen, for making the ladies happy and doing the business. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.